Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another stream. Today's stream is going to be not as long as I would like for it to be, but that's because we have assembled a last-minute birthday dinner for Cutie. I asked her, last night, I was like, hey, do you still want to do dinner for your birthday? In classic Cutie fashion, she was like, I can't get it together. I was like, that's fine. She's like, and I feel like people just want to stream. I was like, okay, sounds like an excuse, but it's your birthday. And anyway, I went to do Deco Den today, which I'm going to show you guys what I made. And I'm so excited to show you. And at Deco Den, Ludwig texts me and goes, hey, dinner night for Cutie's birthday. I was like, I knew it. I knew something was going to happen. Can't believe I have the same birthday. Is your birthday today? Well, happy birthday, Melody. Happy belated RJ. Anybody else whose birthday is this week? Happy. Jana, thank you so much for that compliment. Frosny, thank you for the 12 months. The lipstick goes hard. So June in LA is referred to as June gloom. Even though it's summer and in a lot of parts of the country, it's very summery. June in Los Angeles is gloomy. So I'm bringing out the summer vampire look. It's also Ryan Higa's birthday. Oh, don't know him, but happy birthday, Ryan Higa. Grace, thank you for the prime. It's blasting hot in Florida. My mom said that the cicadas are going insane in Chicago land. Like every time I'm on the phone with her, I hear them in the background, and it's just this cacophony of buzzing sounds. You look mother with that lipstick. It's giving Morticia Adams. Thank you, darling. I'm here and I haven't seen them all. Apparently in some areas they're non-existent, and then in other areas they're like, my mom said she estimates they have 250,000 just in their backyard. My dad will go outside. I've been joking that my dad is like a tree that cicadas flock to. He goes outside and they just fly to you and shed their skins. And there's so many everywhere. So I'm going home next weekend for Father's Day, and I'm hoping that the cicadas are still there. So maybe I can do a stream and show you guys, which I know you're so excited for. A cicada stream. Yes. Okay, let me show you guys what I made at Deco Den, which I don't consider myself to be a very crafty person. Like, I am an artist in certain regards, but when it comes to crafting, I've never been a crafter, I guess I'll say. So for Cutie's birthday, we went to craft at Deco Den, and let me show you guys the clips that I made. They're so cute. I'm obsessed. I made these. Like, this is not me at all, but I love them and I will wear them. It takes 5 days for it to dry, so I can't really touch them right now. Can't wear them right now. But look, ladies and gentlemen, MBs, I am a crafter. So cute. I was absolutely dying at the Deco Den looking at all the options to craft with. I think this one might be my favorite. The black daisies with the pearl. I know. Aren't they so cute? I'll show you. Like, there's, again, they're still wet. They're still drying, but very. Oh, hide. Come on. Come on. You like the strawberry one? I like that they're all different vibes. Like, we've kind of got the goth queen vibes, and then the fairy, and then just like the cutesy summer vibes, and then this is kind of like disco-y. I mean, it literally has disco balls on it. I love them. It's so fun. If you have a deco place by you, I highly recommend, because it requires concentration, like you're crafting and you're deciding what you want to do, but it's also such a nice distraction too. Like, you can kind of just lose yourself in the crafting. I don't know. I need to craft more. I really do. It was such a joy. It was truly such a joy. Actually, I really like this one too. Like the black rose. Upcoming art stream. Well, you know what Cutie's business is going to be. The one that she's opening, and said to us while we were crafting, she's like, I am going to take advantage of you guys. I was like, what? She's like, I'm going to have you working at the Deco Den, but we'll be streaming stuff. So it'll be really fun. But that's what pop-up she's opening is. The pop-up that she's opening is a deco pop-up. So I'm really excited for it. This is my first time doing deco, and it was really the best. Okay, I'm going to put these back. I'm going to put them back in their box so they can safely dry. Anyway, highly recommend crafting, even if you're like me and you feel like you're not a crafter. Do it anyway. It's good for you. It's good to be artsy. I'm building Lego flowers. That's sort of crafting. Oh, totally. That's definitely crafting. Yeah, everyone makes something with your hands. It feels really good to make something with your hands and then have a finished product. On Fear End, there was talk of Will's Sandwich Shop or a hot sauce kiosk. Any word on that? I got nothing for you. You probably know as much as I know. You guys learn things on Fear And that I don't know, that I hear for the first time. Gold Gregory, thank you for the 4 months. Anyway, I've always talked about doing crafting streams, and it's only been reinforced by today's crafting, which was just really the best. What a fun way to spend the afternoon. All right, well, let's just kind of jump into it because I gotta leave by 8:30, I think. I've seen the Bong Joon-ho news. Let me see. Oh, yes. Mickey 17 is delayed to January 2025. I feel like this film has had a lot of problems. Like, Bong Joon has spoken out against the Korean government a lot, and like there's been problems with that. So this is about him not getting the final cut on the film and Warner Brothers wanting to release a more accessible version of the film. Damn. Well, good things come to those who wait. 2025, we already have Little Nightmares 3 lined up. we'll also have a new president. I said that to somebody because they said, I was talking to somebody at a party and they mentioned something about January of 2025. I can't remember what it was. It was like, oh yeah, that's whatever news they were saying, like personal news. And I said, isn't it weird we'll have a new president, but also not new president? It'll be somebody that we've had. And it instantly killed the vibe. I was like, sorry, my bad. Did you see the new Hunger Games news? Yes, I did. A Haymitch book and a movie. I was just reading that. Anyway, okay, let's jump into news for today. So we'll see how much of this we can get through. We got Ashton Kutcher news. I need to watch the Kim K and Chloe Sevigny actors on actors. We have, of course, the usual terrible, tragic news out of Gaza, which, like, man, I'm at a point where I don't know how many more times I can cover the latest news where children have been blown apart. You know, like each of their lives was so important and is so important to honor. But it's like, oh my God, man. I'm not even trying to be funny about it. It's because there's nothing funny about it. It's just, it's like, feels like that. It feels like the Gaza news segment is always just, and this many children and adults were blown apart today. It's just, it makes you feel so empty. Anyway, we'll just touch on that briefly. And then what else too? I think that'll probably be what I can get through. And then I have like a couple other little tidbits. If only the politicians could have such a human reaction to it. Yeah. They're just, so many of them are so soulless, truly. It's why, like, I also, even though a lot of times news and pop culture, it's not it's not cheery and great, but sometimes I just have to really lean into it, because covering politics and covering specifically what's happening in Gaza is just like, it's just death. It's just constant death and destruction. All right, so let's start off with Ashton Kutcher. He's back, baby, and he's got more shit to say. I just am like, Ashton, you and your reputation have taken such a hit, man. Such a hit. And this is one of the first times that I've seen news on him since the Danny Masterson stuff. And once again, he's so callous. He's awful, truly awful. And it's shocking that this man continues to have the inability to just shut his trap. But anyway, so he was at the Berggruen Salon in Los Angeles, was in conversation with former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. I will tell you that I have tried to find like clips or video of this conversation, but it has been taken down. It's been copyright struck. like all the parts on YouTube where he's talking about this have all been copyright struck. So I'm just gonna have to go off of the written reporting on it. So Ashton Kutcher was talking about OpenAI's generative video tool Sora as the future of filmmaking. Okay, so guarantee he has a financial stake in this. Let's just start off by saying that. Like, the reason that he is speaking so highly of it is probably because he has a financial stake in it. Because what's happening right now is actors and filmmakers and people in the industry are looking at OpenAI, are looking at generative AI and going, this is going to fuck us. So I'm going to make sure I get my piece and everyone else gets fucked. I'm going to do what's best for me and me alone. Yeah, that's what this is. So he said, I have a beta version of it, and it's pretty amazing. He added, you can generate any footage that you want. You can create good 10, 15-second videos that look very real. It still makes mistakes. It still doesn't quite understand physics. But if you look at the generation of this that existed 1 year ago as compared to Sora, it's leaps and bounds. In fact, there's footage in it that I could say you could easily use in a major motion picture or television show. That 70s show star went on to explain how AI could make filmmaking significantly cheaper. Yeah, you want to know how it does that? Because it cuts out the human element. It's going to be cheaper because it will erase the humans who are a part of filmmaking. Why would you go out and shoot an establishing shot of a house in a television show when you could just create the establishing shot for $100? To go out and shoot it would cost you thousands of dollars, Kutcher said. Action sequences of me jumping off this building, you don't have to have a stunt person go do it. You could just go do it with AI. Holy shit, the lack of empathy and the lack of care for below the line workers is so transparent here. The fucking gall of him to say that. Yeah, he's literally saying stunt workers, like, truly name any crew position, any below the line position. Ashton Kutcher is saying, we don't need you. In the future, you will be gone because we will use AI to replace you. That is literally what the existential fear has been with AI taking over in the entertainment industry. And Ashton Kutcher is so gross and stupid that he's just saying this exact thing without any sense of awareness or any sense of empathy for the people who he's worked on multiple sets with. Like, these are people who he's going to continue to work with if he steps on a set, and saying your job doesn't matter, you don't matter. Like, it's not that I'm saying he's lying. It's that I'm saying he is talking about utilizing this technology with absolutely no care, no empathy for the humans who have created cinema and have been doing this for so long, and that these are their livelihoods, and we have nothing in place to protect them. And that cinema has always been a collaborative human art making thing, avenue, or industry. And you have people like Ashton Kutcher who act like he couldn't fucking be replaced too. Okay, Ashton Kutcher, I'll make an AI version of you. Ashton Butcher. Goodbye. We'll get Ashton Kutcher AI as well. I just saw do you know what would make it cheaper? Use AI Kutcher instead of paying IRL Kutcher millions. Precisely. I found a clip on Reddit if you want it. Sure. Kutcher added that while playing around with the software, he prompted Sora to create footage of a runner trying to escape a desert sandstorm. I didn't have to hire a CGI department to do it, Kutcher said. I, in 5 minutes, rendered a video of an ultra marathoner running across the desert being chased by a sandstorm, and it looks exactly like that. Holy shit, the ego in this, man. The fucking ego. Like, if you don't see how unbelievably callous these statements are, like, please just think about, like, really listen to the words that he's saying. He's saying that swaths of people across this industry are not needed, that they actually have no value, while not acknowledging where that AI pulls from, and also not acknowledging that movies, cinema without AI have something that is very distinct from anything that is made from AI, and that is a human element. And not recognizing that distinction, that thing that separates them, is valid, is important to recognize.
With Sora, this latest thing that OpenAI,
God damn it,
that like generates video, and I have a beta version of it, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty good, and you can create like good 10, 15 second videos that are like look very real. It still makes mistakes. It still doesn't quite understand physics. It still has.
Wait, but I thought you said that you didn't need a CGI team.
But if you look at the generation of this that existed 1 year ago as compared to Sora, it's leaps and bounds. In fact,
and I need to point this out, because I point it out every time we're talking about AI, to anyone who's like, the technology, why are you acting like the technology is so evil, or like blah, 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 blah. It's not the technology. It's humans like this who are demonstrating that they have no care for what will happen to the people whose livelihoods are going to be replaced by AI, just like he's describing. They have no empathy for that. They have no care. And when they'll say like, oh, AI's not going to replace, it's bullshit. And I guess at least Ashton Kutcher is not even like acting with that pretense. He's just straight up like, oh yeah, no, this is the future. Look what I did. You don't need CGI. It's going to be so much cheaper because we don't need stunt people. We can just create all this stuff in AI.
In fact, there's footage in it that I would say you could easily use in a major motion picture or a television show. Like, why would you go out and shoot an establishing shot of a house in a television show when you could just create the establishing shot for $100? Like, to go out and shoot it would cost you thousands of dollars. Action scenes of like me jumping off of this building.
And again, this is such a short-term cost versus long-term gain mindset, because ultimately, and this is what we joked around with Ashton Kutcher, you are training AI to replace you, and you're training AI to replace the next generation of cinema dreamers, of people who dream of making movies. Like when tech bros are talking about how great AI is and how, it's not going to replace your job, but there will be new jobs to train AI. That is like, you are training it to replace you. So that's what I mean when I say short-term versus long-term mindset here.
You don't have to have a stunt person go do it. You don't have to. You can just go do it. I came up with a prompt of an ultra marathoner running across the desert being chased by a sandstorm. I didn't have to hire a CGI department to do it. I didn't have to hire. In 5 minutes rendered a video of an ultra marathoner running across the desert in being chased by a sandstorm. And it looks exactly like that. So fast forward, and let's go 30 times more performant. You'll be able to render a whole movie. You'll just come up with an idea for a movie, then it will write the script, then you'll input the script into the video generator, and it will generate the movie. So instead of watching some movie that somebody else came up with,
this part is so strange.
Watch my own.
I don't understand this. Why the fuck would I want to do this? The whole point of film is that you have all of these amazing minds, these creative, talented minds who are making things that I could never make, who are like exposing me to film and filmmaking techniques that I like isn't how my brain works. Why would I want to use AI, generate my own script, which, let's be real, it's not my own script, and generate my own movie, which, let's be real, is not my own movie, and watch that instead? Does Ashton Kutcher think that highly of himself? Does he just want to like input generic rom-com that he stars in over and over again? Like, does he just want to watch Ashton Kutcher movies? Or Ashton Butcher, because it'll be AI version of him?
My own movie. And what's going to happen is there's going to be more content than there are eyeballs on the planet to consume it. So any one piece of content is only going to be as valuable as you can get people to consume it. And so thus the sort of catalyzing water cooler version of something being good is going to have, the bar is going to have to go way up, because why are you going to watch my movie when you could just watch your own movie?
That is asinine to me. That is so asinine to me. Oh, and he's saying, like the way he's saying it, where the bar will go up because why would I watch what you've created when I can make my own AI film? When it will not be a collaborative experience with other humans, it will be me making something out of AI that's an amalgamation of everything that's been fed to it. Reducing cinema to only having value based on how many people see it is so reductive. Yes, that's another good point of him thinking that, and him also calling it content, right? He's looking at it as just mass produced content, and if X amount of people watch it, then it has value. And that is such a capitalistic way of looking at an art form, man. And I get it. It's the, show business. It's an industry that, yes, of course, is so tied up in capitalism, but it's such a gross way of, and so devalues film and art. Like, how does this man work? How has he worked as an actor? Like, how has he worked with all these creative people and been in this industry for so long? Actually, no, you know what? I'll tell you, okay? I'll tell you how his mind works. Guys, remember this? When Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore, when they were still married, invested in a fashion startup company called Fashism. FASHISM. And it fell on its fucking face. Fashism got a $1 million infusion from Kutcher, Garcia, Demi Moore, Foursquare's Dennis Crowley, and other venture capitalists. Literally called fascism. What a visionary. Clearly, he can really see the whole picture here. And it totally crashed and burned. Like, it was a horrible business venture. It was. So there's Ashton Kutcher for you. Relevant 30 Rock. Yeah, I already know what this is. This is the Jenna. I told you not to buy that domain name. Say it out loud. Jenna's side. Jenna's side. I'm not hearing it, Liz. I'm not hearing it. Jenna's side. There's a 30 Rock meme for everything. Straight up. Oh man. Okay. Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry had halted an $800 million studio expansion project in Atlanta after seeing what Sora could do. But at least he had the wits about him to not be so callous when talking about this, when talking about Sora, when talking about generative AI. And he said, there's got to be some sort of regulations in order to protect us. If not, I just don't see how we survive. Like, it is important for one of the most powerful people in Hollywood, Tyler Perry, to be recognizing this, to be seeing ahead and seeing that it's not just going to be those at the bottom of the totem pole, that it's not just going to be below the line workers who are crushed by this, that it's not just going to be voice actors. It's not just going to be those starting out in their careers. Like Tyler Perry recognizing that everybody is part of this, including people like Ashton Kutcher, who are talking about this without any acknowledgement of how, I mean, actually, no, he is acknowledging that it will crush workers in Hollywood, that it will crush the human element of filmmaking. Perry added, I just hope that as people are embracing this technology and as companies are moving to reduce costs and save the bottom line, that there will be some sort of thought and some sort of compassion for humanity and the people that have worked in this industry and built careers and lives, that there's some sort of thought for them. Like, I'm just imagining the next time Ashton Kutcher steps foot on a set and all the people who are working to make that film, you know, to turn it into a movie that people are going to watch, and knowing how callous he was about their careers. That, like, this is a guy who had no tact about him to recognize that he is embracing, he literally has an AI investment fund. So this is what I was saying, where I was like, guarantee you Ashton Kutcher has his paws in AI. Like, he is financing this because it's a looking ahead. I would rather come out on top. I would rather make a fucking bag on this than be caught like everybody else, like the masses, and not benefit from this. Last week, Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos tried to deny claims that AI threatens Hollywood's creative jobs. So it's like you have Ted Sarandos trying to pretend that AI doesn't threaten Hollywood's creative jobs. And then the next week you have Ashton Kutcher just point blank being like, yeah, we don't need a sound artist. I don't need a CGI team. Look, it's going to save so much money. It's so much cheaper to do it this way because we don't need the human element. Sarandos said, I have more faith in humans than that. I really do. Really, Ted Sarandos? Really? Really? you, CEO Ted Sarandis, saying I have more faith in humans than that. When we're talking about the humans that will fuck over the workers, it's people like you, Ted Sarandis. He continued, I don't believe that an AI program is going to write a better screenplay than a great writer, or is going to replace a great performance, or that we won't be able to tell the difference. Well, that's what we've been saying. But when it comes to the bottom line, which is money, of course, it will not matter that without that human element, AI will simply never be. It won't be the same. Sarandis said, AI is not going to take your job. The person who uses AI well might take your job. Dude, AI is not going to take your job, but the person who uses AI well might take your job. That's like the same thing, buddy. And then you know what's going to happen with the person who uses AI well? It'll get to a point that they're also replaced. The only way to stop a bad guy with AI is a good guy with AI. Asinine semantics. Yes, it does seem reminiscent of the guns don't kill people, people kill people. He's like, it's not the techno. But also then how do you say this? He keeps contrasting what he's saying. He keeps like saying the opposite thing of the thing he said previously when he's like, AI is not going to take your job. I have more faith in humans than that. Blah, 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 blah. AI program's not going to write a better screenplay. Okay. But then he's like, well, it's not the technology, but it's the person who can wield it well that will take your job. Ashley, thank you for the 20 months. She ash on my tongue till I Kutcher. That doesn't even make sense. Alice Cat, thank you for the 4 months. TK, thank you for the Prime. I love UB, thank you for the 12 months. I'm currently being partial to it since part of me believes it will allow certain people to be able to manifest their vision in the medium of film who otherwise wouldn't be able to do it. There will always be a market for artisan crafts, but I 100% stand behind what we were saying. But I'm also thinking about the other end of the spectrum. People would never be able to even create their vision without the full back who would never be able to even create their vision with the full backing of a crew. But we're not talking about some indie filmmaker who has no money and is not anywhere near the top of the totem pole where they're employing thousands, hundreds, thousands of people. Like we're not talking about individual instances where AI can be an assist to the creative process. We're talking about people like Sam Altman, people like Ashton Kutcher, the people who stand to make a shit ton of money from this technology and who have no qualms about it replacing humans, about it destroying livelihoods, because they think it won't happen to them, or they think they'll at least make enough money on the way out that it'll be fine. Fable Studio are already creating an AI version of Netflix that allows users to generate their own episodes. I don't understand this. I genuinely don't understand this, because look, I am a writer and an actor, but never have I thought to myself, you know what? Rather than enjoying someone else's art, rather than enjoying like all these other amazing writers and performers and filmmakers out there, I would prefer to only watch, let's be clear, not shit that I am writing and filming on my own, but shit that I'm generating using AI. I don't get that. I just fundamentally don't. Who would watch that AI gray sludge instead of the work of human beings with a perspective and something to say? Yeah. I don't know. I do not know. Under the initial release, users will be able to watch AI generated series and create their own content. Cuz that's what this is. This will be content. This is not cinema. This is not art. It's content that's created like that, using a technology that erases the human element. Like I'm not interested in that on a personal level. The endeavor marks the tech industry's further encroachment into Hollywood as it eyes the exploitation of AI tools, embroiled in controversy over the potential to streamline production and the possibility that they were created using copyrighted materials from creators they could eventually displace. Yeah. Amid the industry's historic dual strikes last year, in which the use of AI emerged as a contentious negotiating point, Fable released an AI-generated episode of South Park to showcase its tech. While some mocked it for its comedic misses, others pointed to the video as a leap forward in the tech and proof of concept that AI tools will soon allow viewers to more actively engage with content, possibly by creating their own. It also demonstrated the threat the tech poses to creators whose labor could be undermined if it's adopted into the production pipeline. The vision is to be the Netflix of AI, says Chief Executive Edward Sachi. Maybe you finish all the episodes of a show you're watching and you click the button to make another episode. You can say what it should be about, or you can let the AI make it itself. Or you don't. Or you consume exactly what has been created by these artists and not take their work and generate like an inhuman version of it. Yeah, or you don't reflect and move on to something else. You know what this is? Hyper consumerism. That's what this is. It's like, ooh, you can't get enough. You want more. Well, you just can make it with this technology. And at some point, each of us has to decide like where we stand on this, you know? And trust. I am somebody, when I love a fucking show, when I love a film, when I love a book, and I'm like, oh, I want more. Oh, I wish it didn't have to end. But there's something so beautiful about that too. And especially if the story is written just as such, where no, you don't get another episode. No, you don't get another 20 minutes of the film. No, you don't get another book. Like the creator, the artist created it as just so. Yes. And now you reflect and you ponder and you let it sit with you and you mull it over and you converse about it. Go write a fanfic if you really want to. Yeah, truly. I could see a cool art piece where the user is involved in shaping it using AI, but the idea of just making it, adding your own to confine art just for your own sake is dumb and hollow. Right. Like I can't imagine watching a show like Invincible, which I love that show so much. Like when the second season ended, I was practically tearing my hair out when I realized that was the last episode. But there's no desire in me to take what all of those artists and people who worked on that show created and spent years creating, put that into a technology that then spits me out something that just gives me more. Like, one, that is so disrespectful to the artists who spent years working on this, that I would take their work, feed it into AI just so I could get more and more and never have to have it end. And that is different than fanfic, you guys. Can you imagine someone doing that with like I'm just show like young Sheldon Big Bang Theory that I just gotta have more. My God. And I'm not, look, this isn't just reserved for film and television that I think is real art, that I think is so high quality. I'm talking about everything that's been made by humans. Okay. Even if it's not something that I care for personally, like that's included in my fight here. Like it feels like they're trying to sell adults on becoming iPad kids that watch those AI generated Godzilla and Frozen YouTube videos. Like I said, it's hyper consumerism. It's like, you never have to stop. You never have to, like, it doesn't ever have to come to an end. You can have more and more and more and more to your heart's content. You never have to stop consuming this content. And the fact that they look at it as content, okay? That's what this is. Users are encouraged to make their own episodes of the shows. I just... Sachi says the system is trained on publicly available data. Asked about widespread allegations of the use of copyrighted materials by AI companies to teach their tech, he adds, "What matters to me is whether the output is original." Oh, okay. So just totally ignoring, just diverting away from this serious concern at the center of this whole fucking thing. Hey, so this AI that you're encouraging people to use is using copyrighted materials. And of course, the CEO, who can't say no, like, let's be clear. They can't come out and be like, oh, no, it's not, because that's just a blatant lie. Like, we know it is. But instead is saying, what matters to me is that the output is original. But then this is where the philosophy and the argument comes in. What matters to me is whether the output is original and that the content, God damn it, the fucking content is what will decide whether the tech is worthwhile. So we can't plagiarize, but AI can. Oh, God. I was glad to see that, of course, Ashton Kutcher was being ripped apart on Twitter. Rightfully so. I can watch my own movie right now via making my own movies, but I still watch other movies, said writer-director Steve Rudzinski. What a weird take. What a fucking weird take, man. Especially for Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher. Like, I'm not saying Ashton Kutcher is bad at what he does, but let's be fucking real. Ashton Kutcher saying that he would rather watch his own movies that he's generated through AI than watch someone else's is very strange. And to be clear, when I say Ashton Kutcher is good at what he does, that is me. That's still me insulting him. Like, Yeah, maybe the fact that he was in Steve Jobs has him thinking that he is some great tech genius now. Invested in a company called Fascism. Yeah, I will never get over that. Invested in a company called Fascism. Was on the board of a nonprofit he started to help victims of human trafficking, and wrote letters along with his wife in support of a convicted rapist. Just, oh, Ashton Kutcher. I think it's safe to assume, or not assume. I think it's we can now officially say, not like we couldn't say it after he wrote those letters, but he's a piece of shit. Through and through. Like, he sucks. He sucks. Okay. Not that he's relevant at all, but Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider, I think, has finally buried himself into total irrelevancy. He's one of those guys who I've never cared for. I've never cared for his stand-up. I actually don't like him. I don't like him. And I don't think he's been relevant for a very long time. And I think he's a guy who, because he had a lot of fame at one point, has been living in this bitterness and this resentment, and of course has taken this out in very uncouth ways and just says really gross shit. But anyway, he was hired to perform at a charity gala to benefit the Hospitals of Regina Foundation. I don't know who the hell he thought he was better than Sandler, could go solo, and wasn't part of his entourage. Yeah, insane that he thinks he's better than Sandler. I don't know who the hell hired Rob Schneider, but Rob Schneider is very publicly anti-vax. And so whoever hired him to do comedy at a charity gala for the Hospitals of Regina Foundation, FYI, it's pronounced like, Regina, didn't do their homework. According to the Regina Leader Post, the comedian was roundly booed during his performance. He was cut off in the middle of an offensive comedy set and asked to take a hike. People at the event say Schneider regaled the fundraiser with a routine full of anti-vax and anti-trans jokes. Just the kind of material that gets healthcare advocates to open up their checkbooks and donate big bucks. Who hired him? It takes 2 seconds of homework to realize that Rob Schneider sucks and should never be around this particular group of people. People who are fundraising for healthcare. After the boos and several people walked out of the performance, Schneider was asked to leave the stage before he could finish his routine. It's unclear if an actual hook was used to pull him away from the microphone. Everyone in the room was groaning and saying, "What is going on?" like whispering to themselves. Not a single laugh at times, said Tynan Allen, a black queer attendee who spoke with the CBC. It's just very apparent. It was just very apparent how uncomfortable everyone felt and how unacceptable the things he was talking about were. The Hospitals of Regina Foundation are presumably looking for a new talent booker as it issues public apologies. Yeah, fire that booker. While we recognize that in a free and democratic society, individuals are entitled to their views and opinions and that comedy is intended to be edgy, the content, positions, and opinions expressed during Mr. Schneider's set do not align with the values of our foundation and team, it said in a statement. An unconditional apology was offered right after to our guests and our community. The statement said, you know what we should do? We should put Richard Dreyfuss and Rob Schneider on the same boat and send them out to sea. We reiterate this sincere and unconditional apology today for any offense caused by Mr. Schneider's recent comedy set at the Four Seasons Ball. When Schneider was jeered and asked to end his set at a Republican networking event in April, he fired back on Twitter, calling the Senate working group pussies and defending his Korean whorehouse jokes. But he's been strangely silent on social media regarding his latest mid-comedy cancellation. It's funny because he's actually hated by both sides. Pretty rare. Pretty rare for a comedian to be hated by both sides of people. Since getting the boot on June 1st, his social media feed only consists of allegations that Democrats rely on dead voters, applause for straight actors who want to play gay characters, and plenty of Dr. Fauci vitriol retweets. Attendee Allen couldn't understand how the hospital's Regina Foundation booked Schneider in the first place. That's what I'm saying. The org has retroactively scrubbed all references to Schneider from its website. He's been anti-vax throughout the pandemic, and he's said transphobic things for years. I understand that you're raising money, that you sometimes need to draw a crowd. Rob Schneider does not draw a crowd. Rob is hated by everyone that can hear him speak. Yeah, he is not relevant. He does not draw a crowd. Nobody gives a shit about Rob Schneider. But it doesn't take a lot to vet people, and specifically to vet people from a values-based perspective. I'm not saying that Rob Schneider has hit rock bottom, but when folks in Saskatchewan tell you to get off the stage and have to publicly apologize for your act, you can probably see the bottom from there. Yeah, not good. Did I butcher this? Was that pronunciation like the most Midwest shit ever? Would I say Saskatchewan? Saskatchewan. That was a Saskatchewan? Saskatchewan? Saskatchewan. Look, I'm telling you, it's the Chicago, okay? I'm blaming it on that. Saskatchewan. I'm loving it, Slay. You can take the girl out of Chicago, but sometimes you can't take Chicago out of the girl. Look, I used to work with union guys in Chicago. So they would pronounce this like Saskatchewan. Oy vey. Saskatchewan. Yeah, anyway, not a good time to be a washed up comedian, man. What a sad place to be. I've said this a few times, but I would rather, I genuinely mean this. I think I would rather not be famous, rather never have had the fame and success that people like Rob Schneider had once upon a time, but eventually became irrelevant and burned so many bridges and is just now this bitter, washed up has been. Like, I don't know. We see this so much, and there's just this anger and this lashing out and taking out the fact, the fact that you're no longer relevant. Nobody gives a shit about you, and taking it out on, whatever community, whatever people you deem to be the enemy. I just would I would rather have never had it in the first place, if that's what it turned me into. So it is a sad life. It's pathetic. It's sad. I would rather just have had a normal life, rather than have still be trying to grasp for any semblance of that fame, for any semblance of that star that is just totally fizzled out. And then, you've become such a pathetic sack, such a piece of shit, that people who were fans of you once upon a time, or things that you did that were good, are forgotten because all you're remembered as is this total piece of shit. This pathetic piece of shit. Rob Schneider is part Filipino. Yeah, there's few Asians in comedy, or at least there, once upon a time was very rare. And so Rob Schneider being part Asian, it was always like, oh, here's another, one of the rare Asians in comedy and stand up. We don't claim him. No. I speak for all Asians. I speak for Filipinos. Not claimed. Goodbye. I think not. All right. Moving on to the next story, which concerns Alec Baldwin and Hilaria Baldwin. Could not be more obvious that Alec Baldwin is doing this in an attempt to, I don't know, get some good PR, do something that's going to help him with his upcoming trial. Because don't forget, Alec Baldwin is still set to go to trial for Helena Hutchins' death on the set of Rust. His trial is coming up in July. So nobody asked for this shit. Truly. No one. I can say, I feel like I can say with 100% certainty, and I don't say this very often, but I can say with 100% certainty, there is not a single person who asked for a reality show with Alec, Hilaria, and their 7 children. No one gives a shit. Nobody. Sunflower Snoopy, thank you for the 11 months. But yeah, they are bringing their family of 9 to the small screen. They've got an upcoming reality show called The called The Baldwins.
I'm gonna look like I'm taller than you.
Let's see. Is she doing the accent? I think so.
Hi, I'm Alec Baldwin.
And I'm Hilaria Baldwin. And we have an announcement. Let me do it again, sorry. Hi, I'm Hilaria Baldwin.
And I'm
She has to do it again because remember, English is not her first language.
Alec Baldwin.
And we have an announcement to make.
Good God, no.
No, definitely not. We're done having kids. Bye.
Sit down.
It's so weird. It's so weird. And my Latinas or my Spaniards in chat can see how she is still trying to emanate this like Spanish persona. She's like, oh no, honey. Oh no, but like you can see it. You can see it, man.
Yeah. This is about our show.
We're inviting you into our home to experience the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the wild. And
I'm sorry. I don't care about these kids. I'm not saying this to be a bitch. I'm saying this as I have no interest. They are like, okay, let me explain what I mean by this. There are certain celebrities' kids that I have more interest in. Not in a creepy way, not in a weird way, but it'd be like, okay, if I were to watch a reality show with Apple Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow, Maya Hawke and Ethan Hawke, sure. Like I would choose that over the 7 Baldwin kids who I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them. Every time one of them was born, I didn't give a fucking shit. No interest whatsoever. Certainly do not care for Alec Baldwin. And I think Hillary, I think Hillary Baldwin is horrible too. Like the most famous Baldwin kid isn't even Alec. Exactly. If you're going to watch a reality show with Baldwin children and it's not Ireland or Haley, What are you doing here? I'm sorry. Nobody gives a shit about the Baldwin 9. And you guys know how I feel about young kids being exploited. Like, this is just another way that Ilaria and Alec are exploiting their children. Ilaria Baldwin had all of these children. She met Alec. She pretended to be Spanish. She married him and had all these kids because for her, it has always been about the spotlight. It has always been a way for her to achieve wealth and fame. And so she's got all these fucking kids, and she's the last person who should have a reality show because it's so clear that she had all of these children for reasons other than just, I love kids. More like Baldwin 9. 9 negative.
The crazy. Home is the place we love to be most.
You say we are the bold. We are the bold.
No, we are the Baldwins. We all gotta say it.
Here we go.
But
1,
it was
2,
us.
3.
We are the Baldwins.
And we're coming to TLC.
Like, no. No one wants this. No one asked for this. No. Oh my God. Look at these fucking names. She is such a joke. Ilaria Catalina Irena, 19 months. Maria Lucia Victoria, 3. Eduardo Edu Paul Lucas, 3. Romeo Alejandro David, 5. Leonardo Angel Charles, 7. Raphael Thomas, 8. What ethnicity is she? She's white. She pretends she's from Spain, and she summered there when she grew up in Boston. She's from a wealthy family in Boston. She's white. She's literally a white woman. Her name is Hillary. And one summer, she and her family her white ass family summered in Spain. And that's when she started LARPing as a Spanish woman and went by the name Ilaria. Her name is Hillary. Let's just remember that. Went by Ilaria, started adopting this accent and kind of this like sexy Spanish vibe, trying to be real spicy. And it's fake. Yeah. So she remember cucumber. How do you say cucumber? How do you say? Her name is Hillary Lynn Hayward Thomas. Hillary Lynn Hayward Thomas. Yeah, it's crazy. I remember when all this shit came out, and it's wild. And what okay, so people suspect that she knew Alec Baldwin liked Latina women. It's not why she started doing the Latina grift, because she started doing that a while before she ever met him. But the suspicion is that she purposefully set things up so that she would be seen by Alec Baldwin at this wine restaurant one night. Alec Baldwin, who has a penchant for Latina and Spanish women, and he saw her and like loved her accent, loved the whole Spanish thing about her. And she used to heavily tan. So she would heavily tan and always had her hair dark and use the accent. And then I think it was COVID, right? That she was discovered to be a fucking poser. Someone asked how old she is. She's 40. Yeah, so that's the fam. that's the fam, and she drifts in and out of the accent. Sometimes can't remember the word for cucumber. So anyway, they have their reality show coming out, but Alec Baldwin also has a trial coming up. The timing of Alec Baldwin and wife Hilaria Baldwin's newly announced TLC reality show is not ideal, considering his ongoing Rust case, according to a legal expert source. The timing of the show overlapping with the trial seems strange, but that's also life and how projects work. Is it just coincidence? Sometimes you just don't control the timing of when things will or will not air, and we don't know how long this was in the works. The source adds that some people might find a reality show in poor taste, but it will likely have no effect on the outcome of the trial. There's still a legal process. Maybe they just need money too. There's still a legal process that will play out, and you have to trust in that process. Alex, 66, and Hilaria, 40, announced their upcoming reality show, The Baldwins, on June 4th. So yeah, his trial starts in July. And the TLC show's coming in 2025. Insane. Just so gross. So gross. Because I would put money on them doing this for PR purposes as well as money, and just exploiting their kids, you know. There was a CCTV recording of Alec talking to her on the phone when he was being questioned, and she didn't have an accent at all. Yeah, no, there's plenty of examples of Hillary sounding like Hillary, having no accent, and then other examples where it's like she barely speaks English. Sympathy, the narrative, but he has 7 children to take care of. Of course. Make no mistake that the announcing of them doing the show, the announcing of the show, absolutely is an attempt at helping his PR, his public persona. So they're both narcissists? Yeah. Yes. Wild. Okay. Let's. I saw this news today. So this is Ashley Margolis, who's the founder of the Beverly Hills firm, The A-List. She's probably the most well-known PR lady in town. She's like a marketing and branding guru. She works with tons and tons and tons of the top A-listers. Like her firm is literally called The A-List. Anyway, she sent out an email to her staff about a new mandate to hit pause on working with any celebrity or influencer or tastemaker posting against Israel. So basically, don't work with Kalani. Don't work with Nicola Coughlan. Don't work with Melissa Barrera. Like they are seeing more. Like we're seeing more and more celebrities and influencers posting about the genocide in Gaza, and so of course there's going to be backlash to this. The company, which is a fixture on red carpets and is at the forefront of brand integration with celebrities, works with companies such as CAA, UTA, Lead Company, and Wolf Castellar Public Relations. In the email, Margolis stressed that there was a distinction between what she deemed acceptable and unacceptable social media posts about the country and its current military operations in Gaza. anyone saying Israel is committing a genocide is someone we will pause on working with, as that is simply not true. Okay, so good to know that this is a company who would never, ever, ever work with someone like me, because guess what? It is genocide. So sorry, truth hurts, doesn't it? While Jews are devastated by the loss of innocent lives in Gaza, okay, we are feeling immense fear over the rising Jew hatred all over the world. I hate when Zionists group all Jews together. While Jews are devastated by the loss of innocent lives in Gaza, this is saying that we, all Jewish people, we Jews, like all Jews, right? Of course we feel this way, but also we feel this way. It's so gross. I'm so sick of the monolithing. Margolis declined comment. Sources familiar with the situation note that the A-list has a decades-long history of advocating for fairness and the well-being of others. Interesting. Why is it always when it comes to Palestinians? No, we don't give a shit about their well-being. They add that the intention of the email was to reiterate that the company is strictly anti-hate and will not be a part of perpetuating harmful speech and behavior against any community. Because remember, guys, saying that Israel is committing a genocide is hate speech. Saying that Israel is committing a genocide against Palestinians is anti-Semitic. Can't say it. You cannot be against hate, because in the eyes of Zionists, that is hate. You can't be against violence, because in the eyes of Zionists, that is being for violence. Makes no sense, truly. I don't even try to understand it. The email comes amid a growing divide in Hollywood of the subject of Israel that emerged in the wake of Hamas's October 7th attack. Something that I wanted to mention too about how celebrities are so easily influenced, which is funny, right? These are celebrities, these are influencers, but they're so easily influenced because so many celebrities who posted on October 7th reposted like the I Stand With Israel thing that nobody knew what the fuck was going on. They were just reposting stuff to look like, oh, we're the good guys, we're on the good side. Have now, like many of them, the same celebrities, have reposted Nicola Coughlin's post. Like Nicola Coughlin raised 1.7 million and counting for Palestinians in need. She's incredible. She has been doing so much good work. While she's been promoting Bridgerton. What a queen. Anyway, a lot of celebrities who previously have said nothing about Palestine reposted what Nicola had posted. Like that is the power of using your platform for good. Is these celebrities are waiting for other big celebrities, other people in the biz to be posting stuff like Nicola did, and only then will they come out and repost that as well. Hogan, thank you for the bits. Why isn't advocating for a country committing genocide hate speech? Right. Wait, on the other side of the divide, Selma Blair parted ways with her reps at CAA and Narrative PR. I actually didn't see this news. After posting, "Deport all these terrorist-supporting goons. Islam has destroyed Muslim countries, and then they come here and destroyed minds." Forgot how unbelievably awful this statement was. She later deleted the post and apologized, saying, "I mistakenly and inadvertently conflated Muslims with radical Islamists and fundamentalists." No, you're just a fucking racist bitch. Margolis seemed to have drawn the same red line that Spyglass did when it fired Barrera: use of the word genocide to describe Israel's actions in the region. At the time, Spyglass released a statement that noted, "We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism on this assignment." Still, the word genocide has been used by a growing group of people who work in the industry, including Joaquin Phoenix, Joel Cohen, and Todd Haynes, who signed an open letter in support of Jonathan Glazer. A different group of actors, writers, and producers that included Deborah Messing and Amy Sherman Palladino slammed Glazer's speech in an open letter. Margolis's email referenced anti-Israel sentiments that are causing a lot of anti-Jew rhetoric in our own backyards. Okay. I wish I had a button that I could just press and it would say the thing. It would say the thing that has to be said over and over and over again. Yeah, the anti-Jew rhetoric coming from Israel, conflating Jews with Israel. Yeah. If the state that is committing genocide has conflated themselves over and over and over again with all Jews in the world, so that the conclusion is that Jews are committing genocide, that Jews support this genocide, then there will be inevitably people who believe that conflation because it's been said over and over and over again, and will equate all Jews with the actions of Israel, which is why Zionism is dangerous for Jewish people. We say this over and over again. The other thing is that tying yourself to Israel and saying that everything this country, everything this government does, everything this state does is something I stand by them, then you are sanctioning genocide. Like, yeah. So if you're standing with Israel, if you are not calling out what Israel's doing, if you're not like, hey, I don't agree with this, I don't believe with this, then you're standing with genocide. You are standing with violent oppression. Eli Roth blocked me on Instagram because he's a genocide. He blocked you on Instagram. Wow. She then suggested that if outsiders ask why her firm is being unresponsive with any celebrity influencer or tastemaker using the word genocide, they can come up with some language that you're comfortable with. If I worked for the A-list, the language that I'm comfortable with, I would respond and be like, oh yeah, we're not going to work with your client because your client is against genocide. Your client has publicly posted that they are against genocide, so we will not be working with them. Some were taken aback by Margolis's email and began sending it to external sources. The email was shared widely over the past 24 hours. Margolis has been active on the Israel front within the Hollywood community. In November, she hosted a breakfast at her home for industry people and media to meet with Israeli hostage families. In closing, Margolis wrote, "When this war is over, everything will be died down. And I'm hoping it's sooner than later." In the meantime, she asked her staff to vet the feeds of talent. Like, this is all part of what we talk about with McCarthyism, man. McCarthyism 2.0. It's like, root them out. Yeah, we only take clients who are pro-genocide. Oh, boy. All right, let's talk about this news from today. So, Israel struck a school that is operated by UNRWA in central Gaza. And they are still counting the dead, but believe there to be 35 to 45 who were killed, including 14 children and 9 women. Without offering any proof, the IDF claiming that a Hamas compound was embedded inside. How nice must it be to just have total impunity? Total impunity. by claiming Hamas is everywhere. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can be the most, and when I, obviously not nice because I'm not an evil fucking person, but like it is something that we hear every single day, because every day Israel rains down death and destruction on the Gaza Strip and repeat assertedly over and over again without evidence that, oh yeah, we got Hamas. Okay, let's say you did get Hamas. Let's say you got a couple of Hamas operatives. You killed 14 children. 14. How many times do we have to do hypotheticals? How many times do we have to be like, yeah, so let's say there's a school shooter and he's still in the school and we blow the school up, killing numerous children. But hey, we got the school shooter. Or let's say, you know, whatever hypothetical you want to use that exposes how barbaric this is. Hamas must be incredibly powerful. They have compounds in every single building. Yeah. Oh, and Israel's claiming that they got Hamas members who were behind the October 7th attack. That's where they were staying. But you know who was staying at this who was staying at this school and in this area were hundreds of refugees. Hundreds of refugees who've been in this area. 6,000. 6,000 people have been sheltering on the premises. Since the war began, more than 180 buildings belonging to the UN agency have been hit, killing more than 450 displaced people in those facilities. The Israeli government has repeatedly asserted without evidence a significant number of UNRWA employees are members of terrorist organizations. So what Israel's been doing, in case you don't know, is they have purchased AI systems and they are utilizing mass disinformation campaigns online to spread disinformation like this. Like UNRWA is Hamas. Like there are pro-Israel online influencing operations that have specifically targeted agencies like UNRWA because of UNRWA's importance to Palestinians, because of UNRWA being the largest UN agency in Gaza and the one that directly works with Palestinians, and because of how important they have been for Palestinian refugees. So that's why these online influencing campaigns specifically have targeted agencies like UNRWA. And so what happened was, when we got together as the Creators for Palestine group, one of the frequently repeated things that people would put in the group chat were community members of theirs or fans of theirs who, when they saw that one of the groups we were fundraising for, UNRWA, when they saw that, they would comment and be like, it's not that I'm against helping Palestinians, but you need to know that UNRWA is Hamas. And over again, those of us who are aware of the disinformation and how it has specifically targeted UNRWA would inform, like, yeah, FYI, this is an example of how these disinformation campaigns have sought to delegitimize very important agencies like UNRWA. And even after Israel failed to produce any evidence, and after it has been discovered that influencing operations using fake social media accounts using AI have targeted this agency, and so a lot of people seeing information about how UNRWA is Hamas are seeing that information from fake accounts or, you know, as part of these influencing operations, even after all this, like, people still believe that UNRWA is Hamas. Do you know when the Creators for Palestine will donate funds? That was being talked about in the group chat today. I didn't have time to read the latest on it, but I have to catch up on it, and then I'll fill you guys in. Imran Khan, a senior correspondent for Al Jazeera, noted that the IDF knew it was a UN school. Of course they did. And that it is a place where displaced Palestinians have been staying. Israelis are briefing local Israeli media, saying they suspected some of the people behind the October 7th attack on Israel were staying there. When you're Israel, you can just be like, oh, yeah. Hamas was there. The people who were behind the October 7th attack were there. And so, yeah, kids died. But this was a legitimate target. Right now, we're in this kind of he said, she said. The Israeli army is very clear, saying we believe that Hamas was in that school and in that refugee camp, but not providing any single shred of evidence. According to Reuters, 2 children were among the dead laid out at Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital following Thursday's strike. Mourners told the outlet that the children had been killed along with their mother. Like, enough, man, enough. It cannot ever be normalized that we every day see videos of children being blown apart. Like, man, it needs to stop. I want to show you guys. I think this is under my liked. Yeah, look at this. Remember the horrific video depicting a Palestinian baby whose head was decapitated in the Rafah tent massacre? His name was Ahmed. His 13-year-old brother has spoken out about this. May this death haunt you all for the rest of your lives. They aren't just numbers. And also, we should not just care about them when they've been brutally killed. We should care about them in life. Mohammed, Ahmed's 13-year-old brother, said he loved playing on the trampoline, soccer, and playing with cats. Like, look at this baby. Look at this fucking baby. This should never be normal. This should never be normal. We should never, like, just be scrolling through social media and a baby is being blown to bits and our government is allowing it to happen. I couldn't handle seeing my brother without a head. This is a 13-year-old child. 13 years old. 13. Knowing that this happened to his brother, seeing his brother, his baby brother, recognizing that governments are sanctioning this, that adults are allowing this to happen. How do you hold on to anything good? Like, you are a child. You are a child. You should not know. You should not know this pain. You should not see the world this way. Like, part of becoming an adult in this world is growing up and realizing all the horrible things. I mean, so many wonderful things too, but like realizing how much pain there is and wanting to do your part to make it better. You should not know this as a child. You should not be, from a firsthand perspective, from experience, see how cruel the world is and how much violence there is and trauma. Ugh. How does a child not grow up bitter and angry after that? Yeah. Because you know what? If this were me and this were my little brother and him and countless family members of mine were blown to bits, well, I can tell you that I would grow up and I would want fucking revenge, okay? I would be angry. I would want this never to happen again, and I would use any means possible Truly. Like, who are we fucking kidding, man? There's a thing by an email from, let me see where it is. Yeah, this is Rachel Corrie in an email to her mother in February 2003. Don't forget that Israel murdered Rachel Corrie. They crushed her body. If any of us had our lives and welfare completely strangled, lived with children in a shrinking place where we knew, because of previous experience, that soldiers and tanks and bulldozers that murdered her, could come for us at any moment and destroy all the greenhouses that we had been cultivating for however long, and did this while some of us were beaten and held captive with 149 other people for several hours, do you think we might try to use somewhat violent means to protect whatever fragments remained? I think about this, especially when I see orchards and greenhouses and fruit trees destroyed. Just years of care and cultivation. I think about you and how long it takes to make things grow and what a labor of love it is. I really think in a similar situation, most people would defend themselves as best as they could. I think Uncle Craig would. I think probably Grandma would. I think I would. Yeah. I just, it's not hard to understand how resistant groups form, how people join violent resistance groups when they have experienced violence their entire lives and will never be free of it. Truly, like if you've never been, God forbid, if you have never lived a life, if you have never had to experience being violently oppressed, your ancestors, your grandparents being violently oppressed, then yeah, it's hard to understand. I've never been in that situation, but that is where like the understanding comes from. That is where it is so important when you have never lived life like this, when this has never been your experience, to understand how this happens, why this happens. And violence is always horrible. Violence is always horrible. But we have to understand like how violence is a cycle and how violence leads to people using violence to escape that violence that occurs to them on a daily basis. It's not difficult to understand. It's really not. Even if you've never experienced that. Ugh. Man, I'm so angry. I'm so angry and so tired of seeing this death and destruction and knowing that it's nothing compared to the people who are experiencing it. And I'm just repeating this again, but no politician, no person in power, no media person who is complicit in this, they should never know peace. Truly. They should never know peace. They should never get to go to dinner and enjoy a nice, peaceful dinner. They should never get to go to a show and not be hounded. They should never get to step outside of their homes and not have people screaming that they are complicit in genocide. that they are responsible for Gaza having the largest population of child amputees. They should never know peace. They should be in fucking jail. They should be tried as war criminals. It won't happen, unfortunately. Hopefully the worst ones. Hopefully. But the truth is that there are many in power who are complicit in this, and they will not face repercussions, but we can make sure that they do not have peace. When they step outside their homes, when they go to restaurants, when they go to shows. Kamala Harris got heckled and blamed for genocide at Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, I saw that, and that's exactly what I mean. Kamala Harris, the vice president, should not go on Jimmy Kimmel and have peace.
15,000 children died because of you.
Yeah. Yes. There is nothing that is more important. Fuck the Jimmy Kimmel show. That is not more important. The air of civility, it's not the time and the place. No, it is. Every moment is the time and the place to call these people out.
It's good to have you back. You're interrupting my flow.
You're interrupting my flow. Fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel. Fuck you. Fuck you. You have no flow, FYI.
All right. Anybody else? If anyone else has anything to say, this is the time.
1.9 million.
Yeah, I would stand up and be like, yeah, like, fuck you guys. Fuck you, Kamala Harris, for the genocide, but also just fuck you, Jimmy Kimmel. But this is what I mean. This is what I mean. I will always, always condone this. I will always support this because they should not know peace. Ever. And to argue that there's a time and a place to argue that this is uncivil actually exposes you as the uncivil barbarian. You're a fucking animal disguising yourself as a human being.
How many babies have you killed? How many babies have you killed? This is dead because of you. Your son is dead because of you. People are dying.
Yeah, if civility means sanctioning genocide, if civility means staying quiet as every single moment people are dying, children are being blown up, then I don't want that civility. Fuck it. Fuck that civility.
You are a war criminal! Get out! The genocide of Palestinian children! You are a war criminal! No family.
I genuinely appreciate every person who has gotten up in Hillary Clinton's face as she leaves a Broadway show, who has confronted Kamala Harris as she appears on Jimmy Kimmel, who has confronted Joe Biden as he appears on Seth Meyers. Every person who has decided to be uncivil, I appreciate every one of them.
You're under arrest at the moment, so please let me have your ID for interfering with a live television.
Okay.
I'd like to see the law that says that.
You don't need to see the law. You
don't need to see the law. I am the
That's
law.
all you need to know. So let me have your ID.
That's not how that works.
Yes.
Are you a police
Turn
officer?
around.
That is insane.
Don't.
You don't need to know the law.
Why can't I have my phone?
Can we see your badge?
Yes.
I am
I'd like
working
to
a
see your
security
badge.
I'm sorry. This fucking guy is not a cop, by the
It
way.
doesn't make any difference. You are under arrest.
What? You
You
can't.
can believe what you want. I don't care.
I'm working the security here. Bro, you are breaking the law. You can't do this.
Give me my ID.
How dare you?
What the fuck?
Psycho.
That is out.
You can't do this.
Class traitors. Class traitors.
What the hell? Bro, this is the importance of cameras. It's truly.
Let him go. Let him out.
I am the law.
Let's go.
Man, that old man woke up and took his Wheaties with a glass full of just macho narcissism. I am the law. You're under arrest? You can't arrest me? You're like, what? Let me see the law. You don't need to see the law. And then just violently assaults the protesters. Isn't it crazy that every time we're seeing violence against pro-Palestinian or violence and concerning pro-Palestinian protesters, it's like this where the pro-Palestinian protesters are being violently assaulted? Yeah. No peace.
And I was like,
Genuinely, truly, ever. No peace. No peace. Okay, I gotta pee, and then this is the last thing that we're gonna cover. I'll be right back. Kim K. Egot when? Can you imagine? Kim K. Egots. She comes like I think what? Who's 18, 19? Just a heads up to items you requested last week. Okay. Yeah, Will and I talked about our P.O. Box today. One of us says to go this week and grab stuff. All right, y'all. This will be a lighter topic of conversation. We have Kim Kardashian and Chloe Sevigny. And an Actors on Actors, because Kim had her first real acting role on Ryan Murphy's show. Ryan Murphy loves to cast the same people. Like it's a running thing with American Horror Story. But he also loves to cast his friends, and he loves to cast influencers. He loves to cast people who are not traditional actors, let's just say. And I made my thoughts clear when I saw this news of Kim appearing on Actors on Actors when there are so many other actors who could have done this. So let's take a look.
I was really channeling my sister Courtney. Everyone, when it came out, they were like, that is Kris Jenner all the way. And I was like, well, I guess I had that preparation already.
Right.
But it's not what I was thinking. But
It's
I
so
so
funny. Now
see
that
it
I'm
now.
talking about Feud and everybody asked me about CZ, I was like, I think I'm playing my mother or who my mother wants to be or an interpretation of how my mother thinks a woman should be. So in the moment, sometimes you don't realize it. And then after, it kind of crystallizes. Kim, hi.
Hi.
You have appeared as yourself on camera since you were
20s, in my 20s,
your
yeah.
20s.
So 20 years
and now you're transitioning
into acting.
to being
Girl, I thought you were going to be a lawyer.
somebody else on camera.
Yeah.
How is that?
I really enjoy it. You know, it started off as something that was a
You're
challenge to
transitioning.
myself, and I got an amazing opportunity to work with Ryan Murphy.
I know,
who is
isn't
an
it?
Also, let me point out, remember when Kim was a scab? Remember when there was a strike going on and Kim crossed the picket line to work on this show? Her first real acting gig, and she decided to be a scab. So yeah, I think it's totally fair to be incensed about her inclusion in this for that reason.
I'll ask you about Ryan Murphy. So did you go to him or did he go to you?
He came to me.
Okay.
And he actually
That
came
makes
to
sense.
me with an idea that was kind of reality based, and I wasn't into it. And I just told him I don't think that if I was gonna jump from my show, which I'm not, so to just add something on that to me just my heart wasn't in it. I didn't want to do it. And then he came back and said, you know what? I really want to write something for you, and would you consider doing American Horror Story?
I hate to tell you, Dr. Hill, that's exactly how this will work. I'm gonna give you the life of your dreams.
I obviously know
Wow.
the franchise and how
Did anybody expect anything else? Breathtaking. Yeah. Did anybody really expect anything else? Like, yeah, okay. Did you watch it? No. I've seen clips. Nah, I didn't need to. There's a lot of other things on TV that I can spend my time watching. And the fact that they had no problem scabbing during the strike to work on this show, I don't need to watch it.
amazing the show is and what a cult following it has. And it was an honor that he even believed in me. And sometimes it just takes that one person to really believe in you and give you that push. And I tried it, and I just really enjoyed the process.
Yeah, I guess preparation, playing a publicist. I'm sure you've had many, or have you been devoted to one throughout your career?
I've had two.
Okay.
One always told me to be more realistic about my goals and always just didn't believe in me. And so she asked me one time, and I was in her office like, oh, well, what's your goal? Like, where do you see yourself? And I really didn't know, but there was some magazines, and there was like a Cosmo magazine, and it was like at the beginning. And I just said, I don't know, I'd love to be on a magazine like that. And she just stopped me and said, oh, no, we need some realistic goals.
Oof.
And I just was like, you kind of believe them for a minute, you know? And so once I got a little bit of confidence, and figured out what I wanted to do, I just changed. But my team that I work with, I always kind of, if I could have everyone for a lifetime, I would.
I think my problem with Kim's inclusion in this, and not just that she's opposite Chloe, who is like, she's like been that bitch for a long time, not just as a cultural icon, like a real cultural icon, but in her very long career. And she okay, the Kardashians have always sought one thing: total fame. Okay. And everything that it brings with it. So immense wealth, power, etc. But they have always been after fame. And Kim's admission there, where she looked at the Cosmo magazine, and it wasn't like it wasn't that there was something specific there. It was that she looked at the magazine and she wanted to be on it because of fame. And I'm trying not to condemn her off the bat here, but acting is not about, like, going into acting, like as an artist, like pursuing a career in acting should never be about the sole pursuit of fame. And that is the difference between the Kardashians and the actors who are included in Variety's Actors on Actors, where, of course, all these actors are famous. But if your pursuit in life as an artist is just fame, I don't really believe that you can... I don't believe it serves art. I don't believe that the pursuit of fame, like as what is your goal in life, fame, serves the artist. And I don't think that Kim is an artist. I don't. I think that she's an insanely successful businesswoman. I think that she and her family have had an enormous impact on culture and on social media. And I don't necessarily think, I don't say that in like a total positive way, but Kim to me doesn't belong in something where we're talking about artists, when we're talking about art.
I love the consistency in working with the same people.
Right, I was gonna ask you about that, because for me, like the first hour and a half of getting to work and sitting in the chair in the horrible lighting in the hair and makeup trailers and having to like look at myself in the mirror for that long, going through that process is always like, it's a little disheartening for me. It's a little frustrating. And I can see why actresses bring like their own hair and makeup over and over to every movie and like have these people that they're comfortable with around and they trust the work they're going to do. But then you also might miss out on opportunities of meeting new artists and working with new artisans. And so I guess you'll maybe be open to that.
Yeah, especially when I'm working on a shoot, like especially a still photography shoot. I enjoy whatever the vision is for that photographer, and usually they have their group of people that they work with. I always, if it's something that I'm personally working on or something for one of my brands, I know what I want to look like, but if it's someone else's vision, I really do trust them to take over and help me give people what maybe just a different version of myself. But I do think that having the people that, because I have worked with my glam teams for so long, having their energy around when you're uncomfortable doing something, you're trying something new, they'll be honest with you. At least my team will,
yeah,
you know,
it's a lucky thing to have.
Sometimes you really need that around also.
Yeah, when I'm on location, I was like, now I see why everybody hires their best friends as their assistants and bring them along.
Totally,
nice
yeah.
To have be surrounded by friends.
Yeah,
yeah, just for
in
that
like
energy
Shreveport.
and love. Yes, exactly. I was shot in Shreveport.
Yeah, so
I have a 4-year-old, and I have not been going to the movie theaters very much, I have to say. I've been like a bad member of the film community, and I feel really guilty about it. And I miss going to the movies, and I love like sitting in the cinema. And I saw Maestro, and like there was one other person in the audience. I went at like 10 a.m. after I dropped my kid off at school. I was like elated. It was so fun, and I just.
And it was Bradley Cooper.
I'm just like such a fan of movies and TV, and I just feel like I had more time to watch more content. And growing up, were you a big cinephile? Were you going to the movies a lot, or?
Yeah, I was always going to the movies. It's so interesting. I could remember any rom-com, any sad film, any love plot, anything else, I really would have to watch it again.
Right.
And it's so interesting what I've chosen to gravitate towards. So the films that I really love are not going to be sophisticated at all.
That's okay.
Like yesterday, I was absolutely blown away, like stopped in my tracks, couldn't believe it. Emergency family meeting at the movies. My mom had never seen Troop Beverly Hills. Literally, she is Shelley Long. Like, she was our brownie troop leader.
She speaks so much like Donald Trump. Everything is so interesting. Yeah. What is interesting?
She took us to the Beverly Hills Hotel for a night. I mean, it was like her.
Wow.
And we watched it, and she was like crying over the fashion and like all these stores that don't exist anymore. And, you know, we were like, oh, we can never drive down in a Rolls Royce in Beverly Hills these days. You know, all the shopping bags out, you'd get robbed. You know, it was like, it was such a different time. And so I love nostalgic movies.
Wow. Okay. You guys know there's nothing that I hate more than snobby cinephiles, snobby film people. I have said over and over again that I hate the condescension that can come from people who will mock other people's favorite films if they're not deemed art housey enough, but also vice versa, where if somebody loves those types of films, and then you have like Film Bro calling them out and be like, oh yeah, right, I bet you really love Batman the most, but you're saying some obscure French film. Like, you love what you love, okay? But there is something fucking hilarious about Kim talking about her love of nostalgia. Like, she loves nostalgic films, but that nostalgia comes from this vision of driving down Beverly Hills in a Rolls Royce with shopping bags everywhere that you can't do anymore because people will rob you. Like, what world is that? What nostalgia is that? And also, like, yeah, you can drive. Beverly Hills has their own fucking police force, okay? You can drive down the streets of Beverly Hills in a Rolls Royce with your shopping bags exposed. So I don't know. This is just it further illuminates the Kardashians' brand and what it is that they care about in life. And what they care about is fame and everything that fame brings with it, like wealth.
I just always have like memories of who I saw something with, or I always love during the holidays when the big movies come out and seeing them with everyone. But I'm just like a Clueless Notebook kind of girl.
A good popcorn movie. I love a good popcorn. Tootsie was my favorite growing up.
Why did Chloe even throw the word cinephile out there? And to be clear, Clueless is a great fucking movie. We watched it on stream. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and do the condescending cinephile thing, because I think Kim is recognizing that she doesn't watch a variety of films. She's not interested in acting as an art. She's not interested in cinema as a wide variety art form. Like, she's not. And Clueless is a great movie. Wild to I have my thoughts on The Notebook, but she's interested in acting as something that comes with fame. Exactly. It all comes back to the Kardashian brand and the Kardashian influence and fame.
When I was little, I was obsessed with Jessica Lange, and then got to work with her, of course, on American Horror Story. So that was a pinch me moment. I got to work with
and then the other thing is that when you're doing actors on actors and you're talking about film and you're talking about performances and you're talking about like what it was that inspired you, what it was that drove you to want to do this, like who you are, you know, who are your heroes, what kind of films you were like, were your awakening. She can't have that conversation with Kim. She can't. Like there's just, no, she can't.
Molly Ringwald on Feud, which was another real pinch me moment, started crying again.
I get it.
I had grown up like Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles, just like meant.
I had met her recently and I just was like, I have those pinch me moments too. Yeah. What were some of your favorite films growing up that inspired you?
I mean, those movies when I was younger, and then like in high school, I got into like the more independent scene, and I was also just drawn to like certain actresses like Mia Farrow and Anna Magnani, the great Italian actress, and Jenna Rollins, and all the Cassavetes movies, and I was really drawn to just these like women who were like just powerhouses. Elizabeth Taylor, and
she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the list goes on and on. Actually, on my Instagram.
Is she, Kim? Then why aren't you talking about film and actors the way that Chloe is? Why is the limit of what you can talk about is this vision of driving down in a Rolls Royce with your shopping bags out, because that's nostalgia, baby. Like, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best to stay away from the condescending film persona, because you guys know I'm not about that. I am not about that. But this is frustrating to me. It is frustrating, and the Kardashian family frustrate me. They do. When I see Northwest taking this role that so many talented kids who have worked years and are much more capable and deserving of those roles, of those opportunities, should be getting. When I see Kim, because of her massive influence, because of her family, because of the Kardashian fame, being a part of something like this, like, I am going to gatekeep this. I'm going to gatekeep it, because this is something that I'm so against. I hate that art has been inundated with the importance of social media followers. That, like, if you have X amount of social media followers, which translates to power, then you get to have these opportunities that countless people would be so much better and deserving of.
I do a little like iHeart
and are more interesting. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying that there aren't things about Kim that aren't admirable, that she doesn't deserve credit for, but I don't want to hear Kim talk about being an actor. I don't want to see Kim Kardashian actors on actors talking about film.
Somebody that could have had like one role in one movie that made a huge impact, or like a Meryl Streep that's been in 500 movies. And like, we see these actresses, like, one part can be so, or like Molly, for instance, those 2 movies were like, I mean, there was more, obviously, I don't mean to diminish her, but like, it can be one thing, then it can mean the world to people, or like, an actress on a TV show, and that TV show can mean so much. And so I feel like there's so many ways to make an impact as an actress in people's lives and inspire them and move them. Like
See, for me, it was mostly about the glam. When I look back at films like with Ava Gardner, and I'm always looking into their hair and their makeup.
Oh my God. This is exactly what I'm saying. Their hair, that's what's the most important thing, is how beautiful they look, is the glam. I'm not saying that this is not something you can't appreciate with actresses like Ava Gardner, who are stunning, okay? Fucking stunning. And how a lot of film of the 50s, of this time, was this certain aesthetic. But Kim, like, bro, give us something else, man. Give us something else that we know. We know you love makeup. We know you love beauty. We know you love wealth. We know you love glamour. What else? What else?
And what they're wearing, I was super into the glam of it all. And, you know, even Marilyn and Elizabeth, I just was fascinated by how they looked. Every Sunday, my dad would make us watch a black and white film at his house. Yeah. And it was just fascinating. And I just remember writing down like the actresses' names.
What was fascinating? That they were
wanting
beautiful?
To get on my computer and search and see what they were wearing and who did their hair and makeup back then. And I just was always fascinated by
I'm sorry, it just feels disrespectful to these legends to talk about them in a way that's only about aesthetics. That's only about how beautiful they were. Like, their value was in their beauty. And I think that that's something that's always bothered me about Marilyn Monroe, about the way that people look at Marilyn Monroe, is that she was immensely talented, but she was just so sexualized, and she was like, by many people, was only seen as valuable for the way that she looked. And Marilyn cared so much about film. She cared so much about the art of acting. And it's like, I'm not even the biggest Marilyn Monroe fan. I'm not even like the biggest historian of Marilyn Monroe, but it's such a disservice to her memory and to, you know, what her talents were, when that's all that she is remembered for, when that's all that she is valued. Like, she, you know, like many people valued her at the time, when that's what she's valued for now.
the makeup aspect and the hair aspect of everything in film.
Jean Harlow was
and that's why Kim wore Marilyn Monroe's dress. It has nothing to do with actually being moved by her as a person, as an artist. It was the clothing. It was the way she looked. It was like, that's what motivates Kim Kardashian. And that's why she ruined Marilyn Monroe's dress, why she ruined a piece of history.
I left white flowers at her grave here in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. I love that. Focus on the good. There's so much of it in your life right now. I'm terrified.
There were so many lines like that you feed to Emma that
why do they keep using clips?
Like, oh, I think I've heard those lines. I've said those lines that Emma's saying, like, to my publicist. It rang very true, maybe too true, too real.
It's funny because I was really channeling my sister Courtney and someone that I work with, Tracy, really closely. Everyone, when it came out, they were like, that is Kris Jenner all the way. And I was like, well, I guess I had that preparation already. Right. But it's not what I was thinking. But
now that I'm talking about Feud and everybody asked me about CZ, I was like, I think I'm playing my mother, or who my mother wants to be, or an interpretation of how my mother thinks a woman should be. So in the moment, sometimes you don't realize it. And then after, it kind of crystallizes.
Well, there is another reproduction on the horizon. Truman has got it in his head to revive the black and white ball and do a sequel.
I know that you wore her clothes, CZ Guest's clothes.
Yeah, they tried to pull a lot, but so much of it is like at the Met, like her evening.
Didn't Kim cross the picket line? Yeah.
Does that help you channel your character?
I guess a little bit. All the whole process, hair, makeup, wardrobe, especially like of a woman of like from a certain time period and of a certain class, and I guess it helped the sets, you know, the way the language of the dialogue, and all of that helps.
Because I'm a big fan in owning memorabilia or pieces with energy from people that I loved. So I wore Marilyn Monroe's dress once, and I just like took it all in. And, you know, I actually bought a watch of Jackie's. So just the energy, I mean, it's just, I could imagine there's, at least for me, and it's not even for a show, but like the fact that you're channeling her, I would always probably just like take a moment and be like, this is so fucking cool. Like to have her pieces, you know, I've just always loved.
It's cool, but there's such a, I feel like a level of responsibility to like.
Wait, I'm sorry, I can't. This moment right here when Chloe's like, yeah, but there's like, you need to be accountable. If you're very wealthy and you're buying these pieces of history, you know, ones that really shouldn't just be bought because you have the money for it. And exactly as she says this, Kim says energy again. She's like, yeah, energy, because she thinks that that's what Chloe's about to say. Watch.
Fucking cool. Like to have her pieces, you know, I've just always loved.
It's cool, but there's such a, I feel like a level of responsibility to like, obviously her memory and her friends and family. And I was thinking about you and you, I mean.
Oh my God. I think right then and there is probably the sum of this conversation and so much of what I'm trying to say. She just repeats the word energy again. Chloe's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. And Chloe is a fashion girly. Like she has been, she is like such an icon in culture and fashion in the film industry. So she knows what she's talking about when she's referring to the responsibility and the accountability that is required when you are wearing works of art. Like when you are wearing something that is a piece of history, that is art, and that has been so carefully preserved, and is not just something that, oh, because you have the money. Like there needs to be accountability when you have that much money. And people who have that much money, they do not feel a responsibility.
You must have seen the OJ, Ryan Murphy.
And Kim does not respond.
Family was portrayed.
She does not respond.
Yeah, what's so funny is
she's just like energy.
Some people were over and they hadn't seen it,
and
I watched it years and years ago, and I just wanted to see what it was. I wanted to see if my recollection was right on the portrayal of, you know, my dad, and I thought it was just done so well. And I remember asking Ryan, like, who are your sources? Because that was my dad's exact bracelet. That was our home. Like they actually rented the home.
Wow.
That we grew up in at that period of time. And then I had so many other stories, and, you know, little things were wrong, but minimal. Just which sister's room, you know, he was in, or little things like that.
I have spaced out.
It was just fascinating to watch and see it from a different perspective, especially now since, you know, I'm in law school, and seeing it from a legal point of view. Is just
so she is in law
school. And I heard
school.
You're developing, and are you talking about anything you're developing a little bit, or can we?
Yeah, we can talk about anything.
Playing a lawyer?
Yes, I'm going to be playing a lawyer, a high-powered divorce.
She's in law school to be a lawyer, like she's talked about for a long time. But now she's continuing with acting because she likes acting, and she has the power to get these roles. So she's going to play a lawyer.
Attorney. I will be channeling Laura Wasser.
This has already been done. This Laura Dern.
You can really
I'm sorry. Laura Dern's character in Marriage Story is this. That's what is inspired the Laura Dern character in Marriage Story is Laura Wasser. Okay.
And that legalese.
Yeah. Just all the. It was funny because he said, you know, I think it might be difficult reading a script if you didn't have the background that you have, because so much of it is all, lawyer talk is a completely different language.
Yeah, I don't want to play one.
I was like,
too much dialogue to learn.
Yeah, and I was like, that
I'm
part
losing
I'm
my
good.
memory.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And again, that confidence that he believes in me to take this project on means so much to me. And it feels so right as a character that I could be a lawyer in real life and play one on TV.
Right. And Ryan Murphy's great. He's great to have on your team. And
And I'm obsessed with like serial killers, anything morbid, I'm obsessed with. So I was on set of American Horror Story, and one of the producers came up to me and said, "Oh, you're not going to believe the next series we're working on. It's the Menendez brothers."
Oh,
and I was like, "Oh, I'm obsessed with them."
Yes, so now I'm playing Kitty Menendez, and I felt like I met a director at the Vanity Fair party who said his wife was friends with Kitty, and I was like, do I talk to her? Do I not? Because I don't want to get so much into the show, but we're kind of playing interpretations of her, so I'm not necessarily playing her truth, which I've found very difficult. It's all people's imaginings of her, which I'm sure, I mean, you get projected upon constantly, and and so we all know what that feels like. And so I feel like almost because I'm playing different people's ideas of who she is, it would be almost unfair to know who the real her was.
Yeah. I think it's so fascinating that they're seeing it.
So fascinating, yet again. So interesting, so fascinating.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about that.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I guess we can.
Yeah, I grew up right down the street from the house that all happened in, and everyone went to the same schools and the same neighborhoods. So I remember hearing about that case. And I was just always fascinated with cases. But my dad drove me by the house and told me the story of what happened.
Wow.
But why? Why? This is my problem, you guys, okay? I'm not just hating on her saying the words fascinating, interesting. I say those fucking words too. I find things interesting and fascinating. Why? And that's the question behind acting, is figuring out why. Who are these people? Why do they do what they do? That's where the empathy of being an actor and putting yourself into this character, and especially if it's a character that has nothing to do with who you are as a person, you have to find that. You have to figure out what drives them in life, like the why. Not just, oh, they're so interesting. Not just, oh, it's so interesting, it's so fascinating. Wow, that's crazy. Why? Give some fucking depth.
He had been in the house. So I just find it fascinating. And since, the boys are still alive, like, is that something that you do research on and try to connect with? Or if they tried to connect with you, would you be open to it?
I don't know. I think it's a slippery slope. And I think like the legal aspects are really dangerous as well. I've done a lot of true crime, and honestly, I find it a little mentally exhausting just thinking about those responsibilities to the victims, to even the killers and their family members. But I was reading a lot of like Dominic Dunn's pieces that he wrote for Vanity Fair about the case, and there's a couple books, and watching a lot of the trial on YouTube and just kind of getting a sense of the boys. Of course, there's no footage of Kitty, who I play, but I'm working with the great Javier Bardem. He's playing my husband, Jose. So just kind
What's that like working with him?
It's a little intimidating, I have to say, although he's more of a goofball than you might expect. But he takes, his craft very seriously. He's never on his phone, which is so weird. We're all on our phones all the time. And he just is kind of like sits on set and, communicates with people, and is like, I've never once seen him on a phone. I was like, who is this person? Where did he come from?
That was the one preparation tip that I got from an acting coach, is never bring your phone on set.
Interesting.
So I was like, can it be in the trailer? Like, where does the set start? Like,
thank you for the 4 months.
But I've always understood that and respected that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to stay off it.
So interesting.
But he's a great scene partner. He's like, he brings it. It's like, we're all just kind of amazed. Sometimes I'm like, find myself just watching instead of reacting, because he's so captivating.
I have a question about Feud.
No, why are you doing this to yourself? To me? Please don't make me bear any more awful news this morning.
since Capote, wrote about the girls, have you...
Also, one other thing, that Kim prepared for this too. Everything in the Kardashians' life is scripted, even though they're not actors, they're reality show stars. It's all scripted. There's few, if any, moments of real authenticity because that's not the world that they come from. So everything is mapped out. Everything is planned. Genuine, authentic moments are scripted out. Like, don't forget that.
You, in your head, come to terms or figured out why CZ Guest forgave him? And is that something that you really think about? Is that something that do you try to put yourself in their situation and figure out, would you have done the same thing? And do you have to get to that place of really thinking about why your character would have stayed close with him after that?
A little bit. I think that, overall the series, is examining friendship and addiction. And there's so many themes working. And I think I have to serve the script first and foremost. And, my character is serving
thank you
a
for the 6
different
months.
sort of, color than the other swans. And of course, he didn't throw her under the bus when he wrote the initial article that they were all so upset about, or the initial short story or chapter. So she didn't really, he betrayed her friends, but he didn't really betray her. So maybe she just is like, so that wasn't so difficult to kind of make that leap. Because in real life, they were close friends, for years after the article came out. But I think, I just wanted to serve the writing and serve what, the creators the story they wanted to tell. And, there's always an interpretation of real life. And so, I just tried to serve the scripts.
Do you find it difficult to take on an accent and to really become a character? And how do you get yourself into that just frame of mind?
I do find accents very challenging. I've done accents before and have been asked to then drop them. So now I'm like super in my head about it and really paranoid that I'm just bad at them. And even actually with Feud, CZ's accent.
She didn't even reply to Chloe's comment. It's because there's not a conversation, like a free-flowing, genuine conversation that's happening
We're nuts,
here.
but it was
it's not
her
like
accent's pretty nuts. There's only like 2 examples you can find online of her speaking in her voice, and it's like a Boston Brahmin / English, and she'll like say the same word in one sentence 2 different ways. So it was very hard to, digest and break apart. And but I worked for months on the accent, and then we got on set, like one of my first days, and at the end of the day, Ryan came up to me. He's like, "I think we have to drop the accent." I was like, "I worked so hard on this accent." He's like, "Nobody's gonna believe that someone speaks like this." I was like, "Well, she does, and I had worked so hard with this great coach who also worked with Tom Hollander. And so we just kind of minimized it. But I find it really challenging accents. They're fun to do, they're fun to hide behind, but I would say the line in like my own accent or voice, and then, try and find the truth or something, or what I would stress in my own accent, and then apply it with the accent. And sometimes I think that can help find real ownership of it. Are you going to do an accent?
I would be open to it, but
there is something very
robotic, my voice is so just distinct and annoying. So
don't we all find our voices annoying?
I would love to, but I think something like as challenging. I couldn't start off with something super challenging.
Yeah, ease your way in. Yeah, because people know you. They know the way you move, the way you talk, because you've been on camera for so long. And now trying to hide within a character.
And she's one of the most photographed celebrities in the world.
A set of challenges.
Which I think that's why Ryan was so amazing at picking this role for me, because it is something that's believable.
A lot of the people from the Tom Brady roast said she's very robotic.
A little different than my personality, but not too far off. So where it wasn't like throwing me out into something so different that it would have opened up to so much more criticism, because this was just, I think, believable.
But I think also you have that aura, you're like this persona, like a movie star, where you're so magnetic that I think you can play anything and people will be drawn
She's
to
not
you,
blinking.
so you're blessed.
Like there's something very manufactured, because everything about the Kardashian family is manufactured, from their bodies to their personalities to like the work that they do to the brand. Like it's all manufactured. That's what's throwing me off here. It feels uncanny. It's why it looks like Kim, you can see Kim telling herself like, listen, maintain eye contact, ask a question. She very rarely blinks. It doesn't seem like there's actually conversation happening here between two people. It's bizarre. It is.
Nice of you to say. I'm excited for the lawyer show. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And I think, especially when you have kids and you're going to take time away and really commit to something, and it should be a really fun experience. I want to be different. I want to show people something different, and I'm really up for that challenge.
Speaking of working,
everything
with children,
about her is
I have a 4-year-old,
perfectly
and I try and keep my work
curated.
at work. So like I will, in my downtime, go back to the trailer and learn my lines, and I write them all out longhand, like 3 or 4 times, and that's how I learn them. And then I'll bring in a PA and drill with the PA, because I never think that they like sink in until I start saying them out loud. And actually, once I won a Golden Globe, thank you very much, for my portrayal of Nikki on Big Love, and I actually thanked my PA because I had so much dialogue on that show. I was like, I would have learned it if I didn't have this PA, George, running lines with me. So
shout out to George.
Coming up with this lawyer show, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of dialogue. How was it on American Horror?
Yeah, well, I worked with an acting coach who, would obviously guide me and help me pick my attitude and perception of how I read the lines. But I could always tell if something doesn't feel right and something doesn't, even if it, you have to respect the script and go with it. There's like a way to do it. So I think for me, I just always wanted to be prepared. And that was really important to me, just to...
Prepared and on time.
Exactly. And not waste people's time, because, this is like a huge production and I just value everyone's time and wanted to make sure that I was completely prepared. So with American Horror, we got through so much. I think they weren't sure how prepared I would be, and so they allotted a scene a day, and we finished fairly quickly. So they would say, like, can we add in another scene? Because it's like on the same set. And so we would do that, and I would have to memorize, more dialogue fairly quickly. So I just found that obviously reading it over multiple times and then having that person, so there was someone on set that was available to read with me. And so again, like you said, reading it out loud, being able to do that. I do want to write it down though, because in law school, I write everything. I don't type anything because I want to physically write it out numerous times. And that has served me well. So I think I'm going to try that.
Hot tip.
With scripts, yep. Thank you. I have a question.
Okay.
Did you
I have a hard time listening to anything she's saying. One, because of the way that she speaks very slowly, very deliberately, but without any substance to it. But also because Kim is so, like, there's so many things about her that truly are perfect. She has perfect teeth. She is perfectly symmetrical. Her hair, like everything that she has done for her image and her brand, it's really hard to like not stare at it, I think, because of how perfect everything, the makeup, the eyebrows. She has sculpted her face for perfect symmetry. Yeah. Like Kim, look, and this is not me ragging on her looks. I'm saying that it's very hard to see anything of substance with the Kardashians because of how perfectly manicured and created. They, perfect looking creatures they have turned themselves into, where it does give you that uncanny valley effect. Yes, you're trying to tell if a video or picture of her is AI generated. Even the slow rhythm of the blinking, the way that she moves.
No, CZ guessed. Did you know who she was before you committed to the role?
I did, because, I'm a big lover of fashion, and I'd grown up seeing images of her and Babe and Lee Raswell and all the Swans, and they were this iconic New York socialites. So I was familiar with certain images of her, but I didn't know anything about her until I read Capote and the Women, and then started doing more research. There's a beautiful Rizzoli book that was put out about CZ with different people recounting her, memories of her, stories about her. And that was a real in to who she was, because I didn't speak to anybody that she actually knew or her family members. But people talking about her voice, her accent, her love of gardening, her love of horses and dogs. And, she was kind of a tomboy, surprisingly. You see all these images of her as a real glamour puss, but she was also really understated and elegant. I think she came from a lot of money herself. So I think she had a certain, obviously, privilege, but also a sense of herself where she was a lot more comfortable, I think, in her own skin than maybe some of the other swans who were a little bit more
Appletail, thank you for the
cat fight up to
13
the top,
months.
So
And Goody Davis, thank you for the 10
She had an ease to her that I really wanted to project. An ease, a humor, a groundedness. Those were all things that I was thinking about when we were on set. And, because I think it's very easy to play hoity-toity and get all up in here. And I wanted her to be very, comfortable in herself, which obviously I'm not as a person, but I wanted her to be.
You can see her thinking about what she's going to say next.
I loved
Yes,
playing her. I loved being on the set. I loved being with all the other women.
And you want to know, the most important thing about being an actor? Listening. If it is clear that you are thinking about your line and when you come in and what you will say next, you're failing as an actor.
Long,
Such a great
10-page scenes,
and
where
as
just sitting around the table
in life, having a
these
conversation with
amazing
someone,
conversations and gossiping, and it was like a dream come true. And directed by Gus Van Sant, who I've always loved as a filmmaker and an artist in his own right, and it was the best. And I thank Ryan. Actually, I went up to Ryan on the set of Menendez, and it was right after, I think, the second episode or third episode of Feud had aired, and I started crying, and I was like, thank you for letting me play this part, because I've never had an opportunity to play someone like that, this elegant woman, and I was like, thank you for giving me this opportunity to play a different color, for recognizing that I could play this, and it was a really sweet moment.
Isn't he the best at just making you feel so confident that you can do it? I think everyone needs someone like that in their life that just, gives you an extra push on just believing in yourself.
He's a dreamboat.
He really is. He really is. I can't wait to see Menendez.
And are you involved in the writer's room?
Hogan, thank you for the gift.
No, but I think Ryan's so collaborative that, well, I wouldn't say no. We had a meeting last week, and there was something that we didn't feel was right in the first episode, and we changed it, and he's so open to that. And he said, oh, of course I didn't think of that. I'm not a female.
Right.
So he does love to take notes. He does love to get different perspectives, and he's really open to that. And he's been so great to work with.
Great.
He really has been. So, again, I feel spoiled that it's my, first big experience, and he's been so amazing to work with.
But I heard you have 100 different projects in development.
Maybe 4, not 100, maybe 4.
4's a lot.
Yeah, it's been fascinating, learning the business in such a short period of time. And
should have made this a drinking
game.
So
adjacent to the business, and having a famous family from being so young. So it's a strange path, this parallel to having so many things that so many people in the Hollywood business have. And but it's a different
Yeah.
A little bit of a different language.
It is. It is a different language, and it is a whole different experience. And I think having a team that you really trust to help make these decisions and doing what really feels right.
Mm-hmm.
And when you want to take your time away, because, you have kids, it just has to be so much fun and something that
we'd
you
be
want to
dead
put
if
out
we took a
there,
shot.
and something that you want to try that's different. I mean, my feeling was that, okay, every year I want to do something that makes me terribly uncomfortable to where I can just grow and hopefully be a better person because of that terrifying experience. And the first one was SNL. And I just was like, I don't know if I can do it. I had said no a few times. I just didn't think I could ever do it. And then finally I got the confidence to say, I'm going to try it. Okay, it makes me so uncomfortable, but it's just a week.
Yeah.
And in 1 week it'll be over, and
Live.
Yeah.
You're crazy.
And I actually, one day of, I wasn't nervous. I did it, and I was so proud of myself for completing that. And this was another project like that. And I felt like, okay, I need new energy. We're filming in New York. I want a different experience. Let's try this. And it definitely was outside of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it. And it just, other opportunities came up. And I'm so happy to, again, make myself uncomfortable, go through them, and just hopefully learn a whole lot.
I love how much you love working.
I do.
Oh, yeah, Miss, nobody wants to get off their ass and work. Don't forget about that either. Yeah, no one wants to get off their ass and work.
A deflection and other stuff, I don't know. But no, I genuinely love working. It's like my happy place. Going to the Academy Awards, being so young, it must have been the most amazing, overwhelming experience ever. How did you feel?
Well, we were really surprised that the movie Boys Don't Cry had gotten as much attention as it did. It was the real labor of love. We filmed in Texas.
Lost out to Angie Jolie and Girl Interrupted.
But I was obsessed with Brand and Tina, who the movie is about, and their story. I'd read it in Playboy and some other articles about them, and really felt so passionate about their story and wanting to tell it. And I loved the part that I played, Lana. Then the movie, I just caught on. People really responded to it, and then this whole awards campaign business started.
Is Kim interviewing her? It seems that way because Kim, I don't think, can have a fucking conversation where you're just riffing off each other. If you watch these, obviously they're edited, right? But if you watch the conversations are always they're asking each other questions, but they're engaged, they're listening, they're responding to each other, making jokes. There's an energy, there's a palpable energy. And here, because Kim is so trained and has spent her whole life as a brand where everything is a certain way and everything is scripted, everything is planned out, that she's sitting there and you can tell it's okay, I wait my turn to speak. I ask a question. Chloe responds. I ask something else. That's why it seems as if Kim is interviewing Chloe.
And I was like, what is
and
all
Chloe's
this
having a
business? 'Cause
conversation
actually, when I had started acting,
with herself.
The moment I appear in People magazine, I'm going to quit acting.
Wait, that is hilarious. She just said, I told myself the moment that I appear in People magazine, I'm going to quit acting because that means that it's about fame now. That means that it's no longer about the artistry. It's no longer about it's no longer about film. It's about fame, which is just the irony of sitting across from the queen of the queen of the media scene, the queen of social media, they have their own paparazzi team, you guys. The Kardashians have their own paparazzi team, and that's why their paparazzi photos, you can tell the difference between their paparazzi team and the rare paparazzi shot that's not of their team.
And then Boys Don't Cry came out and everything kind of changed. Of course, this is like pre-internet, this is 100 years ago, 99, I think. And
The best
people
years.
started getting very, interested in my sense of style and my fashion. It was something they could kind of grasp onto. And that was a time when I had done mostly independent features, and people didn't have access to that in the middle of nowhere,
iconic.
right?
I have to say that.
Thank you.
Like legend.
So I think
forever.
that like the more mainstream magazines and papers, they couldn't kind of spin me into something as an actress because there wasn't opportunities for people to see the movies that I was in. So I became this kind of like fashion icon thing. And now I'm still kind of dealing with that. In a way, now it's easier to kind of straddle both worlds, and I'm very comfortable in the fashion world. I can really own myself. And in Hollywood, I feel like still a little like I haven't made it, or I'm not, I don't know. I just have like a real insecurity around it.
I love being in that. I feel like I've always been in that space. Like people always underestimate. So I've always felt comfort in that insecurity and in that space of always feeling like, why am I here? How did I get here? Or is this supposed to be? I mean, I don't know. I've always like operated well in that space. So I know how it feels. I also know how it feels when you feel so like confident and you're supposed to be here. And fashion is just like, you get it. You feel that's home. So
yeah, I think also just like, those are my people.
Yeah.
Like I love people that work in fashion. I think they're drawing inspiration from like all of the arts.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a different kind of hierarchy that you feel there than you do in the film industry. That's like maybe a little more, I don't know if it's like transparent or something. I don't know. I just have like a different relationship to also like how they celebrate women. And I don't know, it's a lot to unpack there. But back to the Academy Awards.
yes, how did you feel? What did you wear?
I wore Barrel Bass for Yves Saint Laurent. And I went with my boyfriend at the time, Harmony Korine. And I lost. Angelina Jolie won.
Goth
for
mommy.
Interrupted, which was not a supporting part, I would say. Not that I'm bitter. But it was a very competitive, it was a very competitive category that year. Catherine Keener, Samantha Morton, Toni Collette, me. It was like just great actresses like I've always admired, character actresses. And I think growing up, I never
rough
even
and tough
thought
roles.
of myself as either like a movie star or like a leading lady. Like I'd always kind of, my desire was to be more of like a character actress, which I'm hoping people recognize in me more now than maybe they had in the past.
Kim has a career in fashion, has nothing valuable to add to this conversation about fashion as art.
I wouldn't refuse.
She's considered one of the...
You are a leading lady.
Thank you, Kim.
Well, my
she's
cousin,
one of the biggest
Cece,
people in fashion.
Moved here, and she's obsessed with fashion, and she is in remission off of a stem cell treatment, but for 30 years she had cancer, and she's obsessed with fashion. So to do something, but at her own pace, all she wanted to do was open up a website selling
5 minutes
clothes that we didn't want anymore, that were like designer clothes, but we didn't want to just give them away. And so she has a site where she sells my sisters and my mom and all of our clothes. And so I'm obsessed with just seeing what's in people's closets. I kind of started in this like closet business world.
Even got an ad read.
And I know that you sold your clothes in a warehouse sale, and everyone was like lined up. Do you regret anything that you sold?
Maybe the green. Thank you for the
regret
vibes.
a lot of the denim. I have like a deep love for denim, and I had a really big, like, great denim collection. Just like a lot of like weird patchwork, kind of like not even designer pieces, just like people had made. And so I regret that.
I want her to add something of value. I do.
But there were so many cute kids that came up to me and were like saying, oh, kids meant so much to me, or Boys Don't Cry. And they all were like citing different films or television shows I'd been in. And American Horror Story is a big hit with the young kids, which is part of the reason why I did it. And the first season scared the out
Yes.
of me. Like I watched that first season, I was like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's
I went on
honestly too
Facebook,
scary
which was
for
like
me.
the thing at the time, and I noticed that all my old like alternative, cool, like new wave friends from high school were like posting about American Horror. I was like, okay, this is the audience.
Yep.
These are kind of my people. I'm gonna do the show, and
it was crazy that all of my fashion people wrote me when I signed on to do it, and I was like, okay.
it has a huge audience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the sale went really well, and it was just like, it was a really nice opportunity to like interact with fans and kids and do a purge.
Yeah, I love a good purge, but then sometimes there's something where I'm just like, or I'll see it up on the site and I'll say, oh wait, I really want that back. After all that work of you photographing it and posting it, sometimes I just can't let go.
Right. But there's always something else, which we love, the thrill of the hunt.
Totally.
Yes. And are you reading a lot of scripts? Like, are people sending stuff? Like, what is that? Because I find that very time consuming.
Yes. And
like sitting down and reading a script, getting through I think within the first like 5-10 pages, if something grabs you, but you want to give, this.
I like to be prefaced first.
Yes.
And hear a Cliff Notes version first, just to see if I would like the premise of the movie and who's, producing it and directing it and who's in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will for sure. Like, I'll never not. But I think that the few projects that I'm going to be working on, The Ryan Show and a few other films, is going to take a lot of my time up.
Okay.
And I feel very comfortable.
So you're not putting yourself on tape?
So, like, what kind of characters are you drawn to, Kim?
I can't.
Would you?
I would.
Yeah.
For the right thing.
Yeah.
I would.
I've done a few with my agent's assistant. It's very helpful.
What is it that draws you to acting? Why do you want to be an
But
actor?
I feel like now there's this whole thing about like putting yourself on tape. It's also like, should we? Do we? I remember like going into rooms used to be really fun, and I was always
Fascinating
really good at, like,
characters.
the part where you chit chat, and then like the actual reading was more challenging for me. Like dropping into a scene out of nowhere in an audition was always very difficult. I don't think I got a single part in audition in my 30-year career.
Wow.
I think most of my film and TV roles have been after like just meeting and talking with people. It sounds like maybe that's kind of like what happened with you and Ryan Murphy.
Yeah,
I like
that's
characters
what
that are
happened with Ryan
interesting.
and like, again, that confidence of him just feeling like, oh, you got this, you can do this, and we will make sure. And I want to make sure that you're comfortable. And so I wanted to.
What was it that
make sure that I worked with?
What did you struggle with your first acting role? What was it that was the challenge?
Comfortable. And I mean, he did
nothing.
Say, okay, I hear you. You don't want to do this other show. Let me figure out. I think you would be perfect for American Horror Story. Calls me a week later and says, okay, I have the idea, but you have like 24 hours to decide if you're going to do it.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh my God, okay.
Sean, thank you for the 8 months. Maybe the dream
of
5.
Oh, you're
off
very
of an
trusting.
idea.
Okay.
And so I, even with the lawyer show, no script, agreed to it, committed, because I love the process of working with him and his team. And he's going to be directing it. He'll be more hands-on than he was with American Horror Story. And
the lawyer
so trusting, no script.
It was a pleasure.
It was so much fun seeing you again.
You too. See you at the Met?
Yes, I'll be there. See you
And
at
if
the
I
Met.
find any more vintage haunts, I'll let you know.
Please let me know.
I will.
I genuinely mean this. I did not go into this wanting to root against Kim Kardashian, even though I don't understand why she was included in this. No, I understand. I don't like it. We could have had a much more interesting conversation. I wanted her to say something. I wanted her to prove me wrong. I wanted her to be interesting. No, I really mean that though. There were so many opportunities to have said anything. This is literally called Actors on Actors. This is talking about life and film and what it means to create and why they're drawn to it and what is it that propels that. There was so much room. She could have talked about fashion. She could have said things about fashion, like about like what textures or like what I don't even fucking know about fashion. I don't know. And I feel like I could have said something. There was nothing, genuinely nothing. And every time Chloe would like say something like a joke or something so specific, Kim would just be like, yes, I will. Like at the end, I'll let you know. Any vintage haunts, yes, please. Like there's no adding something back to that. Like, and I'll let you know, I'll keep my eye out for nothing. I am truly, that was worse than I thought it would be. This is your face during it. Oh man. Genuinely, that was worse. Even though I saw people post it on Twitter and say, wow, lacking in total depth. It was worse than I thought. And I think what we witnessed was the culmination of decades of being a brand. Okay. You saw a person who is full of like who they are. It's not manufactured. It's not dictated by trends. It's like Chloe was a person. She had things to say of her own, like her own thoughts, her own desires, her own, like what it is that she's drawn to, drives her. And then you saw someone who's a brand and has been a brand for a very long time and whose entire family is a brand and is manufactured down to everything. Okay. Like there's nothing about the Kardashians, from the children that they have to the paparazzi team that they have, everything, to the way that they look. It's all manufactured. It's all in service of the brand. And we saw that on display. Yes. Are we going to this dinner? Oh, fuck. Okay.
I'm ready. I don't know if you're ready.
Yeah. We're going. People will be late. It's fine. We'll probably get there before people. Anyway, guys, sorry. Gotta go. Cutie Cinderella's birthday. I took longer on that Actors on Actors video. At the end, I was like, okay, just get through it. Just finish the video. Just fucking finish it. Anyway, sorry the stream was short and I didn't get to fighting the red giant that I was fighting last night in Elden Ring. But we will do that tomorrow. And thanks as always for joining me. I will wish Cutie Cinderella happy birthday from the Quantrage. Yes, I will. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sending you over to Wake Wilder. Peace and love. Bye.